Time is running out for the country's process to amend the Electoral Act. Now, you'll remember the Constitutional Court ordered Parliament to amend the Act, which was found to be unconstitutional. This followed court action by some organizations which raised concerns about the inability of independent candidates to contest elections at national and provincial levels. Now, Parliament failed to meet the initial deadline and requested an extension, which is now set to end in December. So we're asking what progress has been made in this regard. We're joined now by the chairperson of the Institute of Election Management Services, Terry Tselane, joins us via our video link. Terry, great to see you. Thanks very much, as always, for coming on. So a whole range of questions around where we are at insofar as tweaking this Electoral Act is concerned, right? I want to get to the proposal that the IEC has put on the table, but for now, with this extension to December, do you reckon the 2024 elections are still going ahead as planned?
Good morning to you and to your viewers. Michelle, you may recall that last time when we had a conversation on this particular aspect, I did indicate that there was a real risk in relation to 2024 elections, particularly because when the Constitutional Court made its judgment on this matter, they had actually given Parliament 24 months. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they gave Parliament 24 months, they indicated in their judgment, was largely because they realized the importance of having to make sure that the IEC is able to run a smooth election, but also to enable those individuals who are intending to participate in elections as independents to be able to participate in the process. And the Constitutional Parliament, obviously, as we now know, approached the Constitutional Court to say that they have not had sufficient time to focus on this, and they require the 24 months to be extended with another 6 months. Constitutional Court did agree to that, but when we look at what we currently have and the process leading to the finalization of this, I don't think that one is really confident that all matters would have been addressed, particularly all the issues that have been raised by quite a number of non-governmental organizations in relation to what we currently have as a bill.
So Terry, I suppose the question is, how much work needs to be done by Parliament to make way for this amendment to the Electoral Act, allowing independent candidates to contest elections? And then on the backdrop of that, how much additional work is needed to be done by the IEC to then prepare for that election?
Let's start firstly with the IEC, that the IEC would have required at least 24 months to prepare for the elections. And already that particular time frame has been compromised. And I think by the time they receive whatever they receive in December, it may be extremely difficult for them now to prepare thoroughly to make sure that we have a credible election. But Parliament from its side has got many things to do still. One is that there is no clarity in terms of how the constituencies are going to be developed. But secondly, we don't even know what the powers of the independents are going to be. Mm-hmm. Because if you recall, if you go through that bill, for instance, it says that once an independent vacates a position, that position should actually not be filled through an electoral process or through a democratic process. Now that, of course, defeats the purpose on why was this thing required in the first instance. So there are quite a number of issues that are still there. And then if Parliament does not actually handle the issues properly, I see this matter again being taken back to court, and that will even delay the elections further.
Yeah. I see that there's a mathematical solution to this issue of seats, right, which I won't even try to get into or try to understand, but you'll help us with it, Terry. The calculation for an independent candidate and what that candidate would need to occupy a seat in Parliament surely can't be the same as a political party.
No, absolutely, and that's one of the issues that have been raised. Firstly, what Parliament is supposed to do is to create constituencies. Now, there's got to be a rational basis why a particular area is regarded as a constituency. And also, it must be able to afford an independent a reasonable chance to be able to participate in the process and to win or to lose that particular seat once it is there. But if the process is made cumbersome to the extent that it is not going to be possible for an individual to stand as an independent candidate compared to a political party, then that is obviously going to be taken back, as I've suggested earlier on, to the Constitutional Court, and then this will further have an impact on the process. So there is a lot of work that still has to be done in order, firstly, to find the rational basis for the demarcation of constituencies, and then secondly, to make sure that those who are able to participate in an equitable process.
Yeah. It's incredibly complicated, and perhaps the scope of our interview doesn't allow for us to go into the various calculations that will take place or will need to take place, Thierry. But this issue of postponing the 2024 elections, I mean, we've been here before, right, with COVID-19 in the run-up to the local government elections. And even then, the Constitutional Court was not keen on a postponement outside of the parameters of what was allowed.
Absolutely, you're correct, because as I indicated earlier on, the Constitutional Court had indicated its reservations about the further of granting Parliament a further extension, and then they indicated the reasons for why they had reservations about this, and that reservation is contained in that judgment, in that matter of New Nation movement, where they indicated that, where Justice Matlanga in particular indicated that Parliament will only be given 24 months, because 24 months is the only period that would be able to enable the IEC to do its work and to do it smoothly, but also to allow individuals to participate in the process as independents.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the last you and I have heard of this conversation, and no doubt we'll talk to you again soon. Terry Tselane, Chairperson of the Institute of Election Management Services, thanks very much as always for coming on. Time running out for the country to process the amendment to the Electoral Act to allow for independent candidates. It's certainly a big developing story we're tracking for you here on the channel.